Republicans like to acknowledge, and let me say this, because that's going to be a controversial statement. I want to qualify it. I think President Trump and President Biden are very different in their temperaments, and extremely different.
I'm just curious, like, as to why he didn't, like, so he acknowledges that people are saying that he's just a plan to take votes away from Biden, but is that really hard to believe if both Trump and Biden are both neck and neck in terms of polling data, and one particular party has like a much like more diehard, I'll say, base than the other? Like there's only one implication. As a matter of fact, I was looking at something else. Like there was polling down as far as like it was showing like between the two parties, like, you know, who was voting for John F. Kennedy, and I believe percentage point wise, Democrats were there were like more Democrats voting for him than there were Republicans. There was still some Republicans, but the numbers were still like a lot larger on the Democratic side. Like this is no secret. Like it's set up, like if the voting was to happen right now, it's set up to where like he would pull more Democratic, he would put a little bit more Democratic votes than he would Republican votes, which would, in a very tight race, would only like hurt Biden. I don't know. We'll have to look and see. There's a lot of clamor over over Trump, but we're gonna have to wait and see exactly like how the like who actually shows out the vote. Can I put this in? No, I can't even put that there. I can't put that there either. Damn, I have to go like this. Crazy. Yeah, this it's just I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'm convinced it'll be really close, but I think, was it October? October is going to be quite a month, man. There's going to be a lot of activity in October. There's going to be quite a lot of activity in October going on. That's for sure. My God. We'll get back to watching this.
They're different in their professed ideologies. They're different in their personalities and their rhetoric. But the issues that they differ on are in a very, very narrow band. They're mainly culture war issues. They're abortion, it's guns, the border, woke ideology, those kind of transgender stuff. Some of them very, very important issues. The border is the only one that I would say is even vaguely existential. But the big issues that America, that are existential to our country, that really threaten all of us, that are most concerned to all of us, neither of them has even taken positions on the debt, for example. They're both equally bad on the debt. The debt is the most important issue. It's $34 trillion. The service on that debt is now larger than our defense budget. Our defense budget is larger than the next 10 defense budgets for the next.
That is pretty funny. My prediction is that it will be close. Trump will win and do another war for Israel. My prediction, I'm gonna give my prediction, and then what will happen if the other case is true. My prediction, assuming nothing happens, and if Biden has nights exactly like the everybody tuned into the State of the Union when he was talking, if he has nights like those in his debates with Trump, he'll win. It'll be close, but he'll still win. There'll be a tremendous uproar, because once he wins, if he wins, then a lot of stuff that's being put on hold because Trump is like gearing up to potentially be the next president, all the legal cases, those are going to go into full swing. As a matter of fact, that federal documents case, right? I believe the next hearing or whatever is in sometime in October. So once he loses the presidency, it's going to be a wrap for him. When that happens, there is going to be a tremendous amount of uproar in the Republican establishment, and a really defining moment for the country. We'll start pushing race. Oh no! They ain't gonna be nothing about race. It's not gonna be anything about race. When the BS starts to happen, it's not gonna be anything about race. It can't be, right? Because like as of right now, right, Trump is gaining a lot more black support than before. It's not going to be race that is they're gonna start pushing. It's gonna be something a little bit more deeper than that. it's gonna tie into political leanings and religion. That's what I'm telling you. It's gonna tie into, right? Because they're already fomenting some of the arguments to be made, like that whole like 10 Commandments thing, for example, getting into schools, showing that, you know, they're attacking Christian values. They're doing the whole immigration thing, where Congress, Republicans and Democrats was in a good spot to solve the immigration crisis. Because if you actually look deep into the immigration stuff, right, like this notion that walls are going to like somehow prevent like the flow of immigration is just like is just wild to me. Religion is next level. Might be true. I'm telling you, like it's gonna be more political leaning with laced with a lot of religion. That's gonna be baked into it. I'm telling you, that's likely what it's gonna be, and it's gonna and the chaos will then begin to ensue, where what? I don't know. I don't think another January 6th possibly happen, but I think some people are definitely gonna like try to do something. I think like a very small group might actually get a little crazy and potentially try to do something. That then again then the actual federal government will have to step in to like the put down, because like I said that attack on the Capitol when they were certifying the votes, that shit was crazy. Of course, all the legal challenges are going to come through where like they're going to want recounts. You're going to get all these goddamn videos of all this stuff that like at face value looks like they're making it seem like there's something shady going on. And then in the court system, right? And then in the court system, when the stuff actually starts coming out, oh yeah, I got to do my business stuff too. I got to make sure I probably do that tonight. When the court stuff starts coming out, government will stage religious-based shootings during the new Trump era. So how does Trump get to be president, and then the government that he'll be in control of, where he gets to elect the people he wants to do, because you know, as the head of the executive branch, you get to you know, pick who's your attorney general, who's all these different positions, what the focus of the law enforcement is going to be. Yeah, I don't see it. If I'm gonna finish up the Biden scenario, then I'm gonna go to if Trump wins, right? So this is the Biden scenario, right? Where it's gonna be all kinds of like chaos, all Republican led, for like the first couple of months, and maybe even up to like certification of the votes. After the certification, then that's it. Then it's done. Because at that point, because like all of the, I want to say like a majority, if not all of like any court challenges, recounts of stuff would have been done already by then. And yeah, then it would have been a wrap. Yeah, because any uptick in violence and stuff would be immediately handled. I don't know if maybe somebody might get the grand idea to secede from the U.S. Like Texas is, like the Texas group is trying to do. They feel emboldened, empowered. I don't know that part. I don't think so, but that's that. Now for Trump's case, Trump wins. Okay, Trump wins. There could possibly be court challenges for recounts. No, there might be like some acts for recounts, but I don't see any court challenges coming unless there was something like really, really shady. And then even if there is, it would be led by like some independent group and not necessarily by Biden himself. January 6th should happen without an issue, right? Well, the certification of the votes should happen without an issue. And then after that, then once Biden leaves and then Trump's get into office, the very first thing to look at if Trump wins, they will push race and religion. When you say they, are you referring to like the Trump side of things, the Republican side of things, or the government side of things? Because see, once Trump is then officially in office, first and foremost, that all of the crimes he committed, where he's being investigated for, at least on the federal side, he's going to immediately pardon himself from it, right? That, unfortunately, like, even though it's kind of hard to say this, because at face value, that's an extremely bad thing when a person is able to pardon their own self from crimes that they commit. But then on the other side of it, it's just, I'm at the New World Order, president is useless. New World Order, president. Well, I'll say this. Well, I mean, regardless of what the New World Order decides to do, he'll make full use of like what he gets to what he's able to do as president, and absolving yourself from crimes is going to be the very first thing, and then that's when democracy fundamentally changes, because one of the key tenets about democracy is that you have a justice system where like somebody at least, like if they commit a crime, like it at least gets addressed. It's not that they themselves, the person who commits the crime, gets to just wash it away willfully. But that's exactly what he's going to do for the federal stuff. The state stuff is going to get incredibly messy, because I think the New York Democrats might be stupid enough, to not allow this man to then like go to the White House. If his sentencing that comes up in another week or so puts this man in jail, and then he still wins the presidency, if they do not allow him out of jail, so if the governor does not come out and say, well, he committed this crime, but unfortunately he has been elected as president of the United States, and so because of the will of the people of the entire country, not just New York, I will pardon him so that he can then actually go to serve the presidency. If that does not happen, they're like, he committed the crime, he's staying in jail, and we have a jailed president in the same country that he is now the president of, that will be a very, very massive problem. Politics is about to be lit. He'll pardon himself. Yeah, he'll pardon himself for the federal crimes, and then he'll pardon himself for the federal crimes. The governors in Georgia are going to pardon him. Will pardon him for the Georgia state crime. Right now, they're going to let the Georgia state stuff run its course. But and I'm telling you, I can see the game already, right? They are going to let the legal stuff play out in Georgia. If he wins the presidency, then the governor will step in and pardon him. If he doesn't win the presidency, then they'll allow the court case to run his case. And like if he makes it out of that, cool. If he gets convicted, he will go to jail. But if he wins the presidency, Georgia governor, I promise you, Georgia governor is going to pardon him. New York, the New York governor, the New York side is going to be a bit of a different story. I hope that they do pardon him. If they do not pardon him, and you have a direct, you have a once and probably a lifetime clash like that between the state and federal government, where like people might become super emboldened, like that's going to be the flashpoint. New York sentencing that's coming up in a couple of weeks. When that happens, if he gets jail time and it's long enough, like post his his election win. So like if it extends beyond, what is it, March? January. I think January is when do presidents get in office? Isn't it January? When do presidents get sworn in? January. Okay, yes, I was right. So it is January, right? And so his sentencing happens next month. So we're looking at close to about a year. If he gets at least a year, at least a year in jail, right? You'll have a direct conflict that I wouldn't be surprised if some of the Republican governors say that we are going to go in there and forcibly get him out. He's the president of the United States, right? And then as commander-in-chief and president and president of the country, right? At least on the federal crime side, there won't be shit that they'll be able to do because Trump has the power of pardoning, so he'd be able to pardon them. Should they, be subjected to any federal crimes? And then the thing is, state crimes only work. Imagine that. That'll be chaotic. That'll be the amount of destruction and things that'll happen just from the political fallout would be diabolical. But the thing is that like on the state side too, like state crimes only really work when you have a means of being able to get that person to come back into your state, right? So let's say like if that was to happen and the governors like utilize whatever to like get Trump out of prison in New York, obviously there'll be a lot of crimes committed, New York crimes committed, but New York wouldn't be able to do anything because you have to have the power, you have to have the support of the federal government and the state in order to extradite somebody from another state into New York in order to get prosecution. If I go and I commit a crime in Ohio and then they find me in Utah, right? Ohio has no jurisdiction over here, right? Either the feds or the state law enforcement have to get me, lock me up, and then send me over there, or then have Ohio come pick me up. Ohio cannot cross into the state in order to come grab me, right? They have to have the support of law enforcement. So obviously so like the clash of like whatever state onto New York, right, would create a chaotic event that I do not know how we sit there and recover from. And it is a scary situation that I am hoping that the governor would sit there, he'd be reasonable, he'd be like, he committed a crime, right? He was found guilty. He's now unfortunately president of the United States, right? And so we have to pardon him. We can't, otherwise it'll be set up for like an actual political disaster for the United States. It would be, oh my God, it would be crazy. It would be so crazy if that happened. But can I? Okay, yeah, there we go. I was gonna say, like, what the hell is it doing? So yeah, we'll oh boy, we'll see.
Countries in the world all put together. So
when I find out the exact, I think the exact date of Trump's sentencing is like, didn't they say the 10th? When is Trump sentencing date? July 11th. Yes. So I will be definitely trying, unless it's on a Thursday. What time? When and what time? Hold on. And what time? I don't think I'm gonna be able. Jesus. A judge has set for July 11th, just days before. Well, it's probably in the morning. Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna be able to stream that one. I'm gonna most certainly be at work. Well, if it's early enough, I might be able to get the first couple of hours, but then I'm gonna have to roll to work. Did they get a time for this? It was unlike Trump would do jail time if convicted. Experts say, I don't know how this, I really don't know, because if I look at Michael Cohen, like the guy that, you know, helped orchestrate like the illegal payments, he went to jail. If he can go to jail, I don't see how Trump doesn't go to jail. So I think they might just be saying this. Yeah, I don't know what time. If it's early enough, I'm gonna definitely jump on the stream and look at it and see what happens. But if not, yeah, we're just gonna keep a watch and see what happens. But I will be doing that, and then I will be doing like the I think Trump will pardon himself and do an Israel war for real. He's definitely gonna pardon himself. I don't know. I don't know, but I don't know what Israeli war, like an Israeli war against who exactly? Like a war against Israel itself, or are you talking about a war like on behalf of Israel against like the Palestine group or Iran or what's those other countries that don't like Israel? Was it like Syria and Yemen? I think maybe. Yeah. I'm curious what country you're like referring to. Iran probably on behalf of Israel. I doubt it. They're not gonna start nothing with Iran. I can almost assure you. I mean, just look at the shit that happened between Iran and Israel, right? Iran sat there and sent missiles into Israel, and like they were all shot down, almost all of them. I think like one got through, but I think like it blew up over something, and then like it was only the debris that caused damage. And then Then Israel sent like drones into Iran to like blow up like some key parts of Iran that were like free of civilians, no actual real infrastructure, but close enough to real infrastructure to make it clear that if they wanted to, they could have attacked like some important infrastructure, like the place where Iran has like the nuclear stuff going on. And then after that, and then Iran literally just turned a blind eye. It was like, oh, like it wasn't nothing. And then I said, then it stopped. If that could happen with these two countries directly attacking each other, I I personally don't see. I don't see how the U.S. possibly gets dragged into it. And then the thing is Israel's gonna have regardless, is gonna have their own problems that they got to deal with the Palestinians, and the international court. Because right now there's a warrant for arrest for the prime minister. He's not going to be going nowhere. And after they deal with the whole Hamas stuff, then they got to figure out how all of that going forward is going to be. These Jew war. I hate these Jew wars, but Iran is next up. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Say what you want. Everything was all cool while we had the while we had the nuclear deal with them. We ain't had no issues cropping up like that with Iran until Trump like nuked that deal, and then he was selling everybody that good story, saying that, oh, he's gonna create a better deal. He's gonna create a better deal that they're gonna have to sign. And then what happened? Nothing happened, right? He killed the deal. Can I move this down? I sure can. Cool. Oh no, I gotta go. Oh, how am I gonna do this? I guess I could just go like this, right? No, I don't want to go like that. Hold on, I gotta figure this out, right? Electricity. I don't need to bring coal down there. I just need to bring electricity. So no, I want my coal. Oh, wait, so I just want all the coal then to come right here. No, I need one for graphite press and one for electricity generation. So it looks like this one would be generation, electricity generation. This other one would be whatever. But anyway, getting back to it. Jesus, I lost my train of thought because like I was sitting there about to like hold my whole goddamn setup right here. But Iran. Yeah, everything was cool, like while the Iran deal was still good, and now that it's not, now we have all these issues cropping up. So I don't know. I honestly do not know. I guess this would be fine for right now, and then I can just right, and then I guess I just make a line of generators, right? How much does it cost for a generator? Is it down here? It's over here. Battery, here you go, combustion generator. Lead. Okay, yeah, I got plenty of lead coming in, so I should be good there. Let's go ahead and let's go like this. I'm gonna just do just 4. No, you're right. What I want to do actually is I want it to look good. So, but I also want to know too, I need to be able to see just how much coal is in use. So I'm going to create like links of 2 kind of outputs here. Let's also play back that video too. Thinking about this. Oh yeah, we can turn this music off now. Oh, I forgot this shit was even playing. Okay, here we go.
That is, and you know, President Trump and President Biden are largely responsible individually for that debt. President Trump ran up the biggest debt in history. He put $8 trillion on that number. And that is more than all the presidents in 283 years of history before him. And President Biden put almost that much on it. So within 5 years, 50 cents out of every dollar that is collected in taxes is going to go to servicing the debt. Within 10 years, and particularly if interest rates rise, within 10 years, 100% of every dollar collected in taxes will go to servicing the debt. This is really an existential crisis for our country, and you don't hear President Biden or President Trump ever talk about it, and they have no solutions for it.
I want to ask you about what your solutions are to that, because we can talk about the defense budget, but the reality is 2/3 of the American budget is entitlement programs that nobody wants to touch.
Well, the biggest cost is our medical costs, and the medical costs are preventable. And you know, this goes to another issue which neither have ever talked about, which I believe is the biggest issue, which is the chronic disease, even bigger than the budget, which is existential, which is the chronic disease epidemic. When my uncle was
we'll see.
6% of Americans had chronic disease. Today, 60% have chronic disease, and that more than any country in the world. I mean, one of the reasons we had during COVID.
We'll see. Watch Trump pardon himself and go to war. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know. how likely that'll be, but we'll see. He'll definitely pardon himself. That's 100% guarantee. The war stuff, I don't know. You still need the, even from an authority standpoint, the president can only do so much with the military. He needs congressional backing. I don't see the Congress back any of that, unless they want to make it absolutely for sure that they're going to lose the 2026 elections, right? Because isn't the congressional seats every 2 years and then the presidency every 4 years? Yeah, so
We had the highest death rate, the highest body count of any country in the world. We had 16% of the COVID deaths globally were in the United States. We only have 4.2% of the world's population. And a lot of that was mismanagement, but a lot of it was also because we have the highest chronic disease burden of any country in the world. The CDC says that the average American who died from COVID had 3.8 chronic diseases. Now, you take these chronic diseases individually. Juvenile diabetes, when I was a kid, a typical pediatrician would see one case of juvenile diabetes in his lifetime, his entire career, 40-year career. Today, 1 out of every 3 children who walk into his office is pre-diabetic or diabetic. The cost of diabetes now in this country is higher than the defense budget, one disease. And that doesn't even include Alzheimer's, which we now know, which has now been reclassified as type 3 diabetes. Alzheimer's coming from the same cause that's causing the diabetes, which is food, it's poison food. We have 1,000 ingredients in our food that are banned in Europe and other countries, and they're killing us, literally. The autism rate in our country has gone from 1 in 10,000. In my generation, 70-year-old men, 1 in 10,000 has full-blown autism. In my kids' generation, it's 1 every 30.
And you see, and I want you to just pay attention too. Like, see, we was just talking about that earlier too. I'm telling you, of all the different things we got going on, healthcare is the one thing that I'm telling you, if you are the unlucky person, you will get hold. You will get hold something crazy from a health situation, right? And it seems like the environment to which we expect the government to like actually ensure is safe and we don't have to worry about things seems to be failing, which is why I say that at the very least we should definitely do something about restructuring the healthcare industry so that healthcare is provided, right? Yep, bipartisan issue. Yep, I'm telling you, this is because I can tell he's saying all kinds of stuff that Ben is probably like just like twisting in his stomach right now about. Like, for sure.
According to CDC, 1 in every 22 boys.
Because, like, these are all factual data points that you just can't argue. And then, like, you know, there's been an uptick in so much chronic diseases and stuff. And, like, what has changed besides the environment that we're operating in now?
Oh, this is a national security issue. It's the cost. Mark Blaxell just published a peer-reviewed publication that shows that the cost of treating autism alone is $1 trillion a year. So this is, like I say, this is existential for us. And then there's all these other diseases that suddenly appeared around 1989, all these allergic diseases, food allergies, peanut allergies, eczema, asthma exploded. We had that early. You know, when I was a kid, I knew people with asthma. But today they're in every classroom. There's albuterol inhalers in every classroom. There's EpiPens in every classroom. Nobody's talking about this and explaining why the neurological disorders, ADD, ADHD, speech-delaying language delay, tics, Tourette syndrome, narcolepsy, ASD, autism, these are diseases that I never heard of when I was a kid. Nobody ever knew about them. They were unknown, you know, to any except for esoteric specialties in the medical profession. What's causing the autism epidemic? What's causing the diabetes epidemic and all these allergic disease epidemic? They won't look at it. So, and if you are a college researcher and you try to do that,
he definitely has a huge. I mean, it could probably be argued that he definitely has like quite a tremendous amount of support for Israel versus the U.S., but I mean, you know, I mean, it is what it is. Like, at least she's not being covert or necessarily secretive about it, per se.
research, NIH will shut you down. NIH controls the university systems because NIH has a $42 billion budget. It distributes that money to 56,000 scientists, most of whom are at American universities, and the medical schools and the budget of NIH dwarfs the budget of those medical schools, so they have to comply. So they won't look. Nobody will look at this issue. NIH owns half the patent, and they get 50%. So if you're a regulator working for these agencies and you're making royalties and you're paying for your mortgage and your boat and your alimony and your kids' education based upon the performance of that drug in the marketplace because you helped develop it, it tends to subvert the regulatory function of the agency because you have the regulators who are supposed to be looking for problems in that drug who are instead.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you about capitalism in the health, you know, in the healthcare industry is a terrible thing to have. I'm trying to tell you.
I'm making sure they don't see any
So
problems.
assuming that you can go in and clean out NIH and
I'll summarize this. what I'm going to do is I'm going to redirect the science away. The NIH has now become the primary incubator for new pharmaceutical products, and then it spends a lot of its time studying infectious disease, doing gain-of-function studies, and we see where that ends up, et cetera. What I'm going to say to them is, look, we're going to mainly give infectious disease and drug development a little bit of a break for a couple of years, and we're going to find out what's causing the chronic disease epidemic in this country. And we're going to start doing studies on all of these injuries and linking them. We know there's an environmental toxin. Genes do not cause epidemics. They can provide vulnerability, but you need an environmental toxin. And there's a famous toxicologist called Velazquez who looked at this issue and he said, this problem began in 1989. In fact, Congress said to EPA, what year did the autism epidemic begin? And EPA came back and said, it's a red line, 1989. Well, a lot of these diseases exploded in 1989. So Phil Landrigan said, let's look at what it could be. And he said, you need a toxic exposure that became ubiquitous in 1989, that affected every demographic from Cubans in Key Biscayne to Inuit in Alaska, and that has other characteristics, that neurological injuries affect boys, a 4-to-1 ratio to girls. So there's other kind of signals that you can look for. So he went through all of the exposures that began that year. I mean, all of the exposures that were followed that timeline, approximate timeline.
I spent 15 years of my career.
I'm telling you, man, healthcare is such a difficult thing to get solution, because it's so important, and then has such direct connections to so many different other things that you'd have to also address, that is difficult. But not doing anything is worse than attempting to try and do something, right? So with the faults that the Affordable Care Act may or may not have had, right, at least they were attempting to do something. So that's my only position in it. Oh no, oh yeah, link.
Again, that year. I mean, all of the exposures that were followed that timeline, approximate timeline. And he came down with about 13 things. And it's predictable things. It's glyphosate, fluoride. Now, my daughter-in-law, Emerlis Fox Kennedy, who's running my campaign.
Not saying anything really good yet.
Clandestine agent for the CIA. She says, yeah, that's right. There's 29,000 people who are employed by that agency, and most of them are patriots and good public servants. But the upper echelons are controlled by the military-industrial complex and people who would do its bidding. The same is true in NIH. When I sued Monsanto, we got discovery documents that showed that the head of the pesticide division at EPA for over a decade was a guy called Jess Rowland, who was secretly working for Monsanto the entire time. And he was taking his orders from the highest officials at Monsanto to kill studies, to fix studies, to hire these, bring in these phonies.
Oh, shit. They got destroyed, but what was I about to say? But see how important that is? That I tell you, lawsuits, the court, so important, because discovery, will the truth come out? See, he was able to get the documents that showed all the different things that he's sitting there and attesting was actually going on the basically shady dealings, right? And this is what I'm saying. You can't. Who sucks at debating? No. Wait, I don't know too much about him and haven't really seen him too much. But at least at the very least, his past history of doing stuff does have some track record on it. Excuse me. So, but this is what I'm saying, how important, the court said, when you subpoena, I'm telling you, when you start doing documents discovery, that's when all the true stuff come out. So that thing with the whole voter machines being rigged and whatnot, or all these fake votes and stuff like that, once you hit the court system, it's just so easy. It's just so easy that don't ever believe anybody ever try to sell you some story about they didn't have jurisdiction or some of this other stuff, because at the end of the day, if they had the evidence or they had the believable I forgot what's the word I'm looking for, the warrant that this should be looked into, right, it would have been looked into, which is the reason why which is why you get into your discovery phase and whatnot, right? To sit there and start looking for the evidence, start looking for the documents, right, that further proves what it is that you're in court for. So.
And Mitch McConnell and a lot of the Republican senators are now saying is, they're saying, don't worry, we need the Ukraine war because our weaponry was getting old, and we were inventorying in warehouses and we're unloading all that stuff on there. So
okay, see that is a complete lie. Sitting there and saying that they're saying that, oh, we needed the war to offload this stuff. No, that's not at all what happened. What happened was that the war kicked off, and one of the things is that giving military aid to Ukraine, one of the first things we did is that we gave them a bulk of the military that we was initially giving them was all the military stuff that we had inventory off that we don't no longer use, but we can't dispose of or get rid of. So like World War II munitions and stuff like that, because we still had a lot of that stuff, right? That was some of the first stuff they did, but like that wasn't. And I don't know why our government did not communicate this properly, because then it just looked like we was like people hear Ukraine aid and then think that we're just giving them cash and money, because we said they, oh well, we just gave them $500 million in military aid, or like instead, because conceptually it'd be hard for somebody to understand that, oh, we just gave them like 400 tons of explosive munition and stuff like that, right? Like it wasn't. It was all military stuff that we just no longer use, that we just had no use for, because it was all outdated and incompatible with a lot of the stuff we had. We still had it, right? Because you could still technically use it, but it wasn't in any of our like current rotation. So that was like one of the very first things that we just started giving them. And like, so like saying that the Ukraine war, like we needed the Ukraine war just to offload that stuff, and that's why they were supportive of it. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. Why would he make that argument? That's not at all how that that's not at all how that played out.
That we can make new stuff, and that's that is.
I find that to be a foolish argument. But I would ask you.
Listen, I watch what's happening. I
see, even Ben said that's like a foolish argument. Yeah, give away munitions all the time. Yeah, because like a lot of times it's like what World War II and damn sure like Cold War era, right? You know, like we like a lot of countries were stockpiling like a lot of military stuff, because like we was at a point in time where like shit could kick off at any minute. And so like if you just sat there and you ain't want to get caught with your pants out, because one of the first things is that when like the first person to attack has the advantage. So like, and the first thing that a person would attack, they would like most certainly like go after is all your supply facilities and the things like your manufacturing capability, right? That's one of the very first things that they want to take out, is your ability to be able to sustain producing ammunition and stuff, right? That's like War 101. So like, while war isn't necessarily kicking off yet, but it looks like it could be, one of the very first things you want to do is you want to start going ahead and producing, getting a stockpile of stuff, so that way, in case something happens, right, you have plenty of ammunition that you at least you have on hand in case like the facilities are the first ones to go. And then while those are getting built up as quickly as possible, you're sitting there, you got plenty of ammo in storage to make use of defending yourself until you can get all that other stuff back online, right? And so the thing is that like after those eras, we had a shit ton of stuff, right, that over the years we no longer were like having utilized, right? Because we had newer technology, newer equipment, things were different, right, as far as like capabilities. Always attack the munition depots first. Always attack the supply lines first. The supply lines are the first ones you want to go after. It's either you go for the supply lines or you go straight for the head, right? Those are usually the 1-2 tactics. That like Russia tried to go straight for the head. They tried to big boy their way to Kyiv, to the capital of Ukraine, and then of course that didn't work out, and then they ended up getting pushed like hella far back. But that's where a bulk of our military aid initially was coming from. It was coming from actual old munitions that we no longer use, right? The stuff that like the old bombs and stuff we used to use that we don't use no more. The old ammos and stuff that we don't use, like all that stuff. All that stuff was what was going in Ukraine, and it wasn't for the benefit. It wasn't necessarily for the benefit of us. I don't know why he made that argument.
Who owns all the military contractors who are making a profit? Northrop Grumman,
Lockheed Martin, yes,
General Dynamics, yes. They're all owned by BlackRock. So BlackRock is now making a profit destroying Ukraine. And who got the contract?
To be fair, BlackRock did not invade Ukraine. I mean, Russia invaded Ukraine. And the question that I would ask is when it comes
why?
Okay, I gotta give it to Ben. Ben is actually he's asking the actual real questions, right? Because see, there's always like people like jump to like these shadowy organizations and potentially controlling stuff, right? But then it's like, well, hold on, like, but how did these organizations like? How did the organization set up for this to happen when this was completely at the will of said other party, when they have no dealings or anything with said party?
I got the contract.
To be fair, BlackRock did not invade Ukraine. I mean, Russia invaded Ukraine. And the question that I would ask is when it comes
why? why did we feel like that war, in my view, is a war about the expansion of NATO, our right to expand NATO into Ukraine, and was something that we promised that we would never do?
I mean, that's factually untrue. We did not actually promise the Russians that we would never expand NATO.
Well, we did.
Gorbachev himself has said that this is not the case.
Yeah, well, but there have been all kinds of analyses that look at, I mean, listen, a denazification of the government that we put in place in 2014 when we helped overthrow the elected government of the Ukraine, the CIA and Victoria Nuland helped overthrow them, and brought in 5 ministers who are, calling them ultra-nationalists is a polite description. And you well know of the Nazi history in Ukraine. And these 5 ministers who were legacies of Stefan Bandera.
Oh, this would be good. Like, I'm really curious, like, what exactly the whole Nazi thing in Ukraine, because I don't know necessarily too much of that, but I think it's a little bit more fake than what people have been portraying. I haven't like dug much research into it, but I can tell just from the way that Ben looked at him, just from the way Ben looked at him, it was like kind of crazy. Let me see here.
Wanted a denazification history in Ukraine.
Yeah, see, yeah, see, like, see, even he was sitting there like, like, what are you talking about? Like, see, like, I don't know. See, that's why I didn't even bother like really even looking into it, because I could just tell, like, it's just like the way it sounded was just like a bit sus. But like I said, you leave it to these people, they'll talk to you about a story that you know nothing about, and then like hope you just take them at face value and don't look it up yourself. Shit, I can't put it this way. Damn, let me think about this. I guess I have to go like this and then jump to. I was deep into the 90s and back in the day. Now I'm over it. Yeah, because I think I think like when did it first initially started cropping up? I think it might have started cropping up, like, wasn't it that thing that happened at like the Virginia school? I think it was like the Virginia school. It was like the first, like the people with the tiki torches.
These 5 ministers were legacies of Stefan Bandera, etc. And the last thing that he wanted was that protection for the ethnic Russian population of Donbass and Lugansk.
Let's get out of this war as fast as possible. Negotiated settlement. That obviously goes
with 9/11. I definitely don't remember that. Like, wasn't that all like Middle East? Well, didn't it even come out too like later on? Because Obama tried to like veto it, but like Congress overruled them. I think it was like the one and only veto Congress did over Obama, and that was like the thing for allowing like the survivors to sue Saudi Arabia when it just came out that there was actually like, and it's crazy, right? Because we're allies with them and whatnot. But like, bro, like that's what I'm talking about too, bro. Like the foreign affairs stuff, like can get real shiesty sometimes, because yeah, it turned out there was like some direct linkage or ties to Saudi Arabia when it came to 9/11. Why are my pronunciations so trash today? And then, right, so then they created a law to allow people to try and sue Saudi Arabia. Obama vetoed it, and then Congress overruled them, and it's just crazy, right? Because then Saudi Arabia also had like that one person assassinated, or get like people to assassinate him while he was assassinate somebody while he was in the U.S. The whole shit was crazy. Now then, it was a Mossad job. New Yorkers got pissed. I'm not familiar with the Mossad job, but I might pull that up later.
So now we're in 2024, still discussing the war. Putin has not offered any sort of material off-ramp at this point to Zelensky, and Zelensky has not opted to take any off-ramp. So what is in America's interest? If we
what you said is just not true. That's just not true. First of all, the Minsk Accords, although you can complain about some of the language, how you end up endorsing this, the supervillains that were given every couple of
he's a hardcore.
Of all the people that I listen to on the right, like Ben Shapiro is probably like the like one of the very few that I actually sit there and say does like a really, really, really good job, like actually staying closer to the facts than a lot of other people tend to do, because like my God, like if you was like listening to this and you was trying to think if you was gonna vote for him or not, like the questions that Ben is asking him like would really sow doubt into like if this man even like really knows like what the hell he's talking about, especially with Shapiro's like level of intellect and just like research on the topic. It's actually better than I was. Jesus Christ, it's actually better than I was anticipating. I was listening to 4chan. Ben annoys me. I'm sure, but at the very least, he is very effective at communicating a point, because he will stick a lot closer to using factual information and factual data than like what other people tend to do. So
political realist, but Vladimir Putin is a hard power political realpolitik expert. He's
Vladimir Putin has said repeatedly, I want to negotiate this, and Zelensky has passed a law in Ukraine that says we can't negotiate with
And I've actively suggested as a solution that Joe Biden go to Putin around Zelensky and negotiate a solution and then make
Of
America
course,
hates Ukraine.
you and I agree on that.
Okay, so but until that point happens, until that negotiation
What
happens,
doesn't happen tomorrow? I'll tell you what is going to happen the day I get into office.
okay, and let's assume that you go with Putin and you have a disagreement. Do you continue to fund Ukraine up to the point where agreement is reached?
Of course you continue, but I'm going to have a ceasefire, and I'm going to negotiate an agreement. I'm not going to give ground until we have an agreement.
Okay, fair enough. So that was the question because this started off with kind of a broader discussion of American military.
Yeah, no, I would never suggest that. I've been negotiating my whole life. I've negotiated 500 cases.
Jesus Christ.
We'll get to more on this in just a moment. First, you want to know what's stupid? Putting a ejector seat on a helicopter. You know what else is stupid? Not having life in
That thing with what is it? Wait. So they want the president of the United States to negotiate a deal, a war deal for another country that I mean like we have no, what's the word I'm looking for? Like we have no responsibility for per se. Like that's like who are we? Like see, this is what I'm talking about. This is like this then becomes the reason why why we tend to like have a bad name, because like, okay, cool, we only got 4 more minutes to a video before we take our break. Like who are we to sit there and like decide for another country like how they're going to like settle an agreement? That's wild. That is actually kind of wild. That is actually kind of wild.
budget in half.
Yeah.
And what I had said is that Russia is very aggressive on the world stage. China's obviously an aggressive player, not just with regards to its economy.
In the end of the day, it's really up to Ukraine what Ukraine's going to be willing to do. I mean, that's just what it is. That's like us saying that that's like saying, I mean, that is like saying, like, you know, after the whole Hamas thing in Israel, right? We're going to sit there and tell Israel how they, you know, what it is they should do in order to like put like this whole like double state thing to rest, double state issue to rest. That's just crazy.
Obviously feels threatened. That's a very difficult place for the United States to defend. We do require a significantly more powerful navy to maintain the seaways and waterways that allow for a free global market to occur. I mean, we're watching right now as a bunch of ragtag Houthis hold up half the shipping in the planet in the Red Sea because the American Navy has been unable or unwilling under President Biden to actually make sure that there's freedom of the seas in the Red Sea. When you look at the terror tentacles of Iran, it's not that we should have bases we are unwilling to defend in places like Jordan or Syria. It is to say that a muscular American presence on the world stage has been a guarantor of world peace in a way that a reticent America and isolationist-minded America would not be. Somebody's going to fill the gap, in other words.
Yeah, I don't want to repeat what I said about the cause of American military muscle flexing abroad, but it costs $8 trillion, and we're worse off. We're watching the rise of BRICS. We saw the destruction of Iraq.
Jesus.
We saw the destruction of Europe because of America's bad military policy. So I don't agree with you. And